Welcome back to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. This is our final episode in this series with Rabbi Ephraim Barker. I hope you are enjoying and pulling some rich information out with the last two series. In our discussions with Rabbi Barker, he's touching on a lot of mystical and spiritual perspective. And although it may be a little different from what you may be accustomed to, I hope you and I invite you to enjoy and pull out what is helpful for you. I often, look at animals, especially, our pets. And have you noticed that if you're not feeling good or something is bothering you, do you notice that your pets react a little differently? They have a sense that something is stirring, something is not right, something is not settled. And it seems that they are very intuitive and very sensitive to a realm that we can't see, we can't hear. And I like to think of that realm as a means of communication. We're so used to things in communication, especially in our digital world. We're so used to seeing things and being accustomed through maybe like a habit of just relying on digital and media communications. It's almost part of our life. What Rabbi Barker is going to share with us in this final episode is a realm, and you'll hear him use different terminologies that may be different and sound kind of strange. But I think if we keep our mind open, we can appreciate the openness of a spiritual dynamic, a spiritual realm that is open for all mankind. It's just that we have to learn how to access it. And so, without further ado, Rabbi Ephraim is going to use an analogy of a fisherman. And so, I like how he uses different visuals, because for me, it helps me learn. And so, being aware, this is a super duper awareness practice, and you may have to play the series a couple of times, but I hope that it is joyful for you and it provides some new information.
It's the same way whenever you're praying in a relationship with God in a three-dimensional plane as a human being. You're throwing your prayers out there, and with all your kavanah and all your intention, and whenever you sit back and reflect in your heart after you've done so, then you get the dagim, if you will. You get the answers for yourself. In the metaphor that I'm using, in the sense of your catch of the day, right? Like, what am I supposed to learn today about today's challenges? And that's another thing to remember. When you let go of the past and you quit trying to control the outcomes, and that's a big problem for humans. when you quit trying to control the outcomes and just live in the moment and let go. Quit worrying about these things and have those moments that you consistently set aside where you commune in your heart with God and you can let go. Then your consciousness, if you will, expands, almost like Wi-Fi, if you will, in today's world, and you're able to tune in to your higher self. That higher self lives within other planes and dimensions, and that higher self is always connected to God, and it's only here in this matrix that we call planet Earth, schoolhouse Earth, that we battle to always try to stay focused. But we have to always keep in mind that Hashem loves us, that there are two realities. There's du partsufim, as we say, two faces. There's the reality of the world of Elohim, which is God's name that deals with nature. And then there is God's name that's mentioned, that King David talks about in Psalm 16. Shaviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I will place God's four-letter name before me. That name is a name of supernatural that overrides the natural elements, and that's the name that we have to concentrate on whenever we want to be victorious and arouse ourselves to heights beyond physical. And when we do, we're not supposed to stay there. We're actually supposed to bring that energy and that what we call Kedusha, holiness, to this world and to make the world a better place. Hope that answers the question.
And with conflicts, I think the most challenging part to keep in mind is what strength we are building as we handle moving towards learning new technologies, interacting with different technologies, keeping it real, and we don't live in yesterday anymore. Sometimes, when there are thoughts, people may say or think that, the good old days were better than these days, or, we had it so good when we didn't have all these different televisions and movies and whatever else. The problem with that kind of thought, and it's not like a problem, a negative problem. It's just, I think it prevents a positive, progressive point of view, because the world progresses, and the world is the people, and as people progress, the way things are being done progresses. Studies have shown that populations in many countries are decreasing, and you can research that. And United States is one of the countries, as well as Europe. The population is decreasing, and so I want to put this little plug in, is technology is being used so that human existence and a livelihood can exist with fewer people in the future. Isn't that scary?
Eartha, the thing is that it is true. A lot of people they will reminisce about, like, hey, it was better during this time, better than that time, and or whatever makes people feel comfortable in the present. People will usually reach to the past in order to extrapolate something from it to make it seem like, well, those were better times, and all the while it really wasn't any different, maybe even than the current present situation that the person is in. But perception is reality. a very powerful force in the psyche of humanity. I would say that when you're looking at when you're looking at dealing with technology, technology is a blessing and a curse in many ways. As they all, I remember my Aunt Lola would always say that technology is a blessing and a curse. It's a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing. And in the hands of the right people, i.e., those that all humanity, every culture that have the people in it that are seeking the betterment of humanity, of all humanity, then I think that technology can be an amazing tool to link up and connect and to build positive bridges. But on the other hand, technology is also used in order to cause division, hate, and things of this nature. So it's a very fine line. That's a challenge at the God, like we talked about. It is definitely a challenge. But I think though that the genie's out of the bottle, I guess you could say, and so we have to deal now with the consequences of that technology and knowledge that we have on the markets that are available. Right now, we have to deal with that. But I think that if we put it in perspective of every individual basically trying to work on themselves to improve their character, I think technology can be an amazing tool. It can bring a lot of benefit, to the world. But it appears that, with the way technology is used now, it is used in order to, basically cause a lot of damage. But it doesn't mean we should throw the baby out with the bathwater. It just means that we just need to change the water in the tub, keep the baby, and the bad water would basically be every individual. Hopefully, they would try to awaken themselves and improve their character in order to be able to use these tools to the most maximum potential for goodness and for the right reasons, and the apex of their own individuality as a B'Tselem Elokim, as someone who's created in the image of God, that they would use it for those purposes. If not, then one of the interesting things about the word Elokim is that it's a plural word. Our sages say even when Moses the Hashem was dictating to him to write the Torah, he came to that and says, I'm going to write Elohim, and people are going to think that there's multiple gods. And as Jews, we don't believe in multiple gods, right? When we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Eloheinu, Hashem Echad, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one, right? There aren't multiple gods. There's one God, and there is the Marechot, there are the systems that he created, to function and fulfill his will. And we are part of that system as well. But with that being said, going full circle, Elohim is plural because people have to have the choice either to use, and Elohim's always associated with nature. And in our world, the computer and everything, it is still connected to this three-dimensional plane of nature. The materials, everything it's made out of, access, the everything flowing in the chips, all of that comes from this dimension. But when it's used properly, then the image of Elohim that's within us is elevated and it's holy, and we make nature holy. But within the system, we can make nature ugly too. So our nature, just like in a human being, it can be good or it can be bad, And so it's the same with technology. It just depends on which way we want to take it. But that's the consequences from eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Our eyes are open, but at the same time, they're also closed. They were closed to the other worlds that surround us, that we are a part of every single day, and we affect through our speech and our actions, and that's how come it's so important to reconnect with this technology and learn from it in order to rectify and correct, ourselves as human beings. And by doing that, I think we will create an unbelievable bridge between ourselves and our neighbors, right? And see some great results from that an IE technology being used in a good and holy way, if you will.
And so with that, just know that we have to tackle our fear. We have to channel our fears. We have to tackle and channel our frustrations. And know that each and every person today can make a better future tomorrow. And I think with that perspective, we do have to start looking for solutions, looking for techniques that can help us through these advanced times. And so as much as we want to be politically savvy, politically correct, I think we have to be open and be mindful to work in a group, to be peaceful, to come up with conflict strategies, and to realize that we are on a high-performing team. And high-performing teams work, their mission is to be action-oriented to fulfill a mission to make the world or the company or the organization better with the people that is in the company. Highly functioning teams look at each strength of the team member and can, if it has a really good leader and good facilitators, they can bring that team, which each team member increase their motivation and just make all kinds of beautiful contributions to whatever the mission is in that organization. And so how can we, and this is a big question, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, how can we help others realize that they are a part of a high-performing team, and that each member, whether regardless of gender, regardless of religion, regardless of age, that each member can contribute. How is that? How can we begin step number one?
All right, so Eartha, that's a very good question about, and the way you formulated the question about team and a high functioning team, high caliber team, and as Jews, it's interesting you say that, because when you take the word, for instance, kli, which is going to be kaf, lamed, and yud in Hebrew. Kli means a vessel, but also the Reshei Tevot of the word Cohen, Levaim, and Yisrael. When you take the first letters of those names, you get the word Kli, you get the word vessel. So the Jewish people are a vessel, or a team, if you will. Unfortunately, throughout history, and our prophets recorded as well, and in the Gemara, the unity aspect has been lacking, unfortunately. Even now, as you know, we're marching toward the holiday of Shavuot, and we're counting the Omer. And the Omer is an opportunity to do reflection in order to correct your own personal kli, your vessel, if you will, and align it properly with Hashem, in order to, again, receive the Torah at Mount Sinai as if you are on the holiday of Shavuot. Because in Judaism, everything is cyclical. So we have an opportunity every time. We do holidays. We do, like right now, we have the Omer. Today is Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israeli Independence Day. There's an opportunity to have unity. There's an opportunity to say, hey, I'm on a team. I want to focus on the good. I want to be good. But understand, like we've already talked about previously in your questioning, when you begin and you decide consciously in order to seek the good, it doesn't mean in this dimension, oh, it's just easy, you're going to get it. No. Here you have to earn it. There's a great book called Sefer Yetzirah. When it describes the different, if you will, dimensions, I guess you could say, that the human soul is involved in, the one in this three-dimensional plane, according to Sefer Yetzirah, is the plane of the lev, the plane of the heart, right? And I know I've taught this before. When you look at the first letter in the Torah, it's the letter Bet, and the last letter is Lamed. So, which, when you put them together, it spells the word lev, which means heart. So, the heart is where we're supposed to rectify. But the heart, according to the book of Sefer Yetzirah, it's always at war. Milchama. Always fighting, right? To do the right thing. That's the way this dimension is set up here. Here, you have to earn it. Here, you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet and to sanctify God's name. And so, when you do that, you've contributed to the Kli, or i.e., as Jews, you've done it. But now I want to be clear on something. I personally hold by the philosophy of the first chief Sephardic rabbi, Rabbi Meir ben Uziel, right? The first chief Sephardic rabbi, who said very clearly that the Geulah, the redemption of the Jewish people, it's not a selfish redemption. We're not here to be ethnocentric and just think it's about us. Jews are servants of God, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, just like our forefathers. So we're here in order to reveal that, through our masim tovim, through our actions, through our clinging to God, through sitting back and waiting for Hashem to bring those in our life that need to come into our life, right, and put us where we need to be to have that impact. Whenever we're, metaphorically speaking, firing in all pistons, it's not about just us. It's about the redemption of the Jewish people. It's a redemption story of individuals and a redemption story of the world. It's not a selfish redemption. So that's number one. So, that I want to get out there to just make it clear that we have to understand that we're part of a collective. You're absolutely right. And being part of that collective means I have a responsibility to it. I can either elevate myself within the collective, right, and elevate it, or I can live in my base nature and degrade it. But at the same time, nature will correct it. Remember, we live in the world of Elohim, and Hashem knows how to correct when things get out of balance. Bezrat Hashem, I hope that, we will always seek within our individual communities, of course, first, and wherever we may go, in order to be the best representative that we can be. If you're a Jew, be the best representative as a Jew you can be. If you're a Christian, be the best Christian you can be. If you're a Muslim, be the best Muslim you can be. In other words, be a good human being. Bring out the goodness in the world through your actions and love for God. For us as Jews, it's the Torah, of Moshe Rabbeinu. For the Christian, of course, it's Jesus. And for the Muslim, it's the Quran and Muhammad. But and other people too, other religions, that whatever they're doing, it says, I'll leave you with this. It says in the book of Malachi, it says, from the rising of the sun to its setting, God's name is praised among the nations. So we learn from this that, according to Rashi, that even though someone may believe and worship God in a way not like we as Jews do, and it may be foreign worship, as long as they have sincerity in her. I'm not talking about like sacrificing human beings or something crazy like that, chas v'chalila, but doing the right thing and seeking the goodness and helping others. God answers all prayers of everyone. So we need to keep that in mind. We're all on the same human team, and we all need to do our part in order to bring the light of God and be a conduit for Hashem to reveal His presence in this world.